Breaking news coming in. The Supreme Court has directed the Uttar Pradesh government to act on reports of children dying due to the cold in Muzaffarnagar relief camps. Remember, as headlines today has also reported, hundreds of families are still living in camps despite statements by the Uttar Pradesh government that all of them have been given compensation and accommodated in proper houses. Action to be initiated within the next 24 hours. Also, the Uttar Pradesh government has been asked to submit a status report on these deaths and why they took place despite last month's Supreme Court order to the UP government to ensure proper care in relief camps. For more, let's get a word from Jaskirat Singh Bawa, who's joining us on the phone line from outside the Supreme Court. Jaskirat, the Supreme Court had last week also asked Uttar Pradesh government to provide proper relief, but despite that, there's still no concrete action that's being seen on the ground. There are several reports in, not just on headlines today, but several other media platforms also, of children dying due to cold and infectious diseases.
Exactly what has become a contention for most of the petitioners, who are saying that why did the media reports for the UP government to actually take cognizance of the fact that there are children who are dying because of cold due to lack of sufficient care and amenities at the relief camps. Now, apart from that, the UP government is itself questioning the numbers which are being put forward by the media. They are actually saying that we will definitely be taking action, but we also need to look into the veracity of the numbers being thrown about. So one can say that the UP government will be following the Supreme Court if they have to, because otherwise they will be held in contempt. But at the same time, they are also putting up some sort of a defiant act suggesting that the numbers are actually, they've actually been increased and they have been magnified, and it isn't exactly how it seems to be. However, at the same time, they said that we will be conducting an inquiry. We have already initiated an inquiry, and if it turns out that these are the number of children who have actually died, action will be taken against those who were supposed to be responsible for their care. In the meantime, Supreme Court has issued formal directions to Uttar Pradesh government that within the next 24 hours, they have to initiate action. A status and an action taken report by the Uttar Pradesh government will have to be filed in the Supreme Court by the next date of hearing, which is going to be the 21st of January.
Right, and Jaskirat, the Supreme Court is looking at all petitions that are being filed regarding Muzaffarnagar riots, including those filed by all communities, saying that the relief aid being provided by the SP government is being done on religious lines. There are also leaders of the Jat community who've come out and said that they've lost a lot of property, they've lost sugarcane crops and tractors, and they haven't been compensated by the Uttar Pradesh government.
Today's particular hearing was specifically surrounding the deaths of the children due to cold in the relief camps. While the petitioners, and there were almost a dozen of them who were there in the Supreme Court today, they all tried to put forward their case. The Supreme Court said that there's something over here which requires an urgent attention, which is the death of children in relief camps, death of people, not just children, but other people also in the relief camp due to cold, which is something that should have been foreseen. So they restricted today's hearing to that specific subject and suggested that the remaining issues can perhaps wait a little longer in the interest of this particular subject being taken care of.
Absolutely.
First. Now, at the same time, the Uttar Pradesh government informed the Supreme Court that many of the petitioners, apart from those who have the genuine human rights concern, many of them also have political and communal agenda. Now, I'm quoting the Uttar Pradesh council over here. He suggested and told the Supreme Court that there are many people over here with political or communal agenda. But at the same time, the Supreme Court asked and suggested to all the petitioners to put forward their case, which will be, of course, be taken up for formal hearing by the next date.
Jaskirat, and another thing that really sticks out on as far as the ground situation is concerned, that the SP government is saying that only one camp exists on the ground, while all the other people, all the other camps have been packed up and people have been accommodated either in permanent houses or in schools and local colleges. But on the ground, there are several other camps that are still existing, despite the DM statement that he's gotten affidavits and clearances from ground officers that they've been packed up.
Well, there was some sort of a contention coming up today in the Supreme Court also about the nodal officers who are there in Muzaffarnagar, about the fact that they perhaps haven't been filing a proper report about the actual ground situation. Now, that is, of course, an indication of shirking of responsibility down the food chain by the Uttar Pradesh government, although no formal application or presentation was made on that particular subject. There was only an indication that was done. At the same time, I also have to say that orally, the Uttar Pradesh government informed the Chief Justice of India that there were over 3,000, close to 3,900 people who were still in the relief camps. There were that many people with their families who were actually still there in the relief camps, is what they told the Supreme Court bench headed by Chief Justice of India.
All right, Jaskirat, stay on with us. Let's also get a word from Mr. Bajpai of the BJP, who's joining us on the phone line. Mr. Bajpai, your reaction: there are thousands of families who are still stranded after the Muzaffarnagar riots. There are several reports of children dying due to cold and improper care and proper medical help not being provided by the Uttar Pradesh government.
जी, गंगा से प्रभावित लोग इन कैंपों में थे और जब कैंप में जहां सरकार की सीधी अभिरक्षा में थे, वहां 48 नवजात शिशुओं की मौत हो जाना अपने आप में ये सरकार की नाकामयाबी का परिणाम है। और मेरी तो मांग है कि उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार इस्तीफा दे और साथ ही साथ उत्तर प्रदेश के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री पर राष्ट्रपति बनानी चाहिए, क्योंकि वो इतनी हत्याओं के, इतनी मौतों के दोषी है।
Right, Jaskirat Singh Bawa still with us on the phone line from outside the Supreme Court. Jaskirat, one of the allegations against the state government is that despite the centre offering help of providing food from the Food Corporation of India and the Health Ministry also coming out and offering health supplies, the state government has so far not taken up that offer.
Well, that particular issue wasn't brought to the attention of the Supreme Court. Once again, like I said, many of the contentions were coming up. There were almost a dozen petitioners over here. The directions from the Supreme Court, which was there last month about the relief camps and about UP government taking care of the relief camp, was an all-encompassing direction with regards to the food supply, with regards to shelter, with also regards to the care for the oncoming winters. And the winters, in any case, is almost at its peak right now. So the Supreme Court's directions were encompassing all those factors. Now, whether or not the reason for the delay or the reason for any shortcoming was a bureaucratic delay or political delay, all that will definitely be looked into, because the Supreme Court bench headed by Chief Justice of India is extremely keenly looking into those kind of details. However, the fact remains that at some incidents back in the first week of November and then these deaths that have taken place due to cold have actually taken place after the Supreme Court had already taken cognizance of the situation in Muzaffarnagar. So there's a grave concern even amongst the judges of the Supreme Court by the bench headed by Chief Justice of India that things are...
Right. Jaskirat, thanks so much for taking us through those developments. The Uttar Pradesh government has been given 24 hours. They have to submit a status report on these deaths and why action has not been taken so far.